Good evening, dear listeners. It's me again, Alexian, your storyteller, wizard, and loyal friend. Welcome to my Library of Wonders, a place where the most amazing stories come to life. Today, I will tell you about a boy named Evan who had an extraordinary gift. This gift allowed him to live through every story he read as if it were happening to him in real life. But let's start from the beginning. Let's take my magical compass, which will guide us to this story, and begin. Evan was an ordinary boy, but his life was far from easy. His mother worked a lot to provide for the two of them, and Evan didn't have a father. He often stayed home alone, and his only friends were books. Evan loved reading more than anything in the world. But he had a special gift. When he read, it was as if he were transported into the world of the book. He could feel the wind ruffling the characters' hair, hear their voices as if they were real, and deeply experience their joy or pain. Every story became a part of him. One day, on his way home from school, Evan stumbled upon an old bookstore he had never noticed before. The shelves were lined with books, and the air was filled with the scent of old paper. In the far corner, he saw a book with a golden cover and the title, Secrets That Will Change Your Life. "This book is for you," a voice suddenly said. Evan turned around and saw an old shopkeeper with kind eyes. "But remember, it will only reveal its secrets to someone who is ready to understand them." Evan took the book and ran home, not knowing what lay ahead. When Evan opened the book, the pages were blank. He was puzzled, but suddenly words began to appear on the first page. "To uncover my secrets, you must live them. Are you ready?" Evan nodded, and in that instant, his room disappeared. He found himself in a vast library with endless shelves. Books floated around him, and a soft light filled the air. In the center of the hall stood a table with a quill and an inkwell. "Welcome, Evan," a voice said. It sounded very much like the voice of the shopkeeper from the store, but Evan couldn't see anyone. The voice seemed to come from nowhere, as if it were speaking from deep within his soul. "I am the keeper of this book. Here you will learn how your gift can change not only you, but the world around you." Evan asked nervously, "But how will I know what to do?" The voice replied, "You must choose the books that call to your heart and resonate with your soul. In each of them, you will find a world where your knowledge and abilities can help. You will live through these stories, and your gift will guide you on what to do. But remember, the most important thing is to listen to your heart and trust your feelings." Evan nodded, and the quill on the table rose into the air and floated toward him. "This quill will help you choose the books," the keeper's voice said. "Simply touch the one that calls to you." Evan approached a shelf filled with books of various titles. His eyes fell on one titled, "The Village Where No One Understood Each Other." He felt that this was the perfect place to start. When Evan touched the book with the quill, he found himself in a small village. The people there looked sad and angry. They were shouting at each other, and no one was listening. Evan approached one of the villagers and asked, "Why is everyone arguing?" "We don't understand each other," the man replied. "Everyone talks about their own problems, and no one wants to listen." Evan remembered all the books he had read about people, their feelings, and their struggles. He knew that sometimes anger hides fear, and loneliness hides behind sadness. He began talking to the villagers, asking them questions. Gradually, people started to open up. One man admitted he was afraid of losing his family, and a woman shared that she felt unsupported. Evan suggested that everyone gather in the village square, where he told them a story he had read before. It was a story about the importance of listening to each other and sharing feelings. The villagers began to realize they had more in common than they thought. By the end of the day, the village was filled with laughter and friendship. Evan felt that his gift had helped these people. When the story ended, he found himself back in the library. "You've taken the first step," the keeper's warm voice said as Evan looked around, trying to process his adventure. "You used your knowledge and your heart to help others." Evan smiled and asked, "What's next?" "Next, you will choose new books," the keeper replied. "Each one will teach you something new. But remember, the greatest secret of the book is you." Evan continued choosing books and helping their characters. He lived through incredible adventures. Some stories were thrilling, like treasure hunts or mysterious journeys where Evan had to solve intricate puzzles. Others were calm and seemingly ordinary, but Evan knew that such stories also held special secrets. These were the secrets of human connection and understanding. Evan loved all the stories he entered because each one taught him something new. But one day, when he returned to the library after another adventure, the quill that always helped him choose books suddenly flew into the air and darted out of the hall. Evan was surprised, but quickly followed it. The quill led him through narrow corridors of the library, past towering shelves filled with books, until it stopped in front of a massive wooden door with intricate carvings. The door had no handle, only a round medallion engraved with the words, "To open the door, answer this. What unites hearts, breaks down barriers, and makes the world brighter." Evan thought for a moment. He remembered all the stories he had lived through and realized the answer had been in front of him all along. He said, "Love." The medallion glowed and the door slowly creaked open, as if it hadn't been opened in centuries. Behind the door was a small room with a single book on a pedestal. Its cover bore the golden title, "The Final Secret." Evan cautiously approached and opened the book. On the first page, it read, "You are ready to learn the final secret. But to uncover it, you must look into your heart." Evan thought deeply. He remembered how often he had felt unimportant, how much he missed his mother's attention. But he also realized that his mother worked hard for him and that her love was always with him, even if she couldn't always be there. And then Evan suddenly felt afraid. He had spent so much time in the library, and his mother didn't even know where he was. At that moment, the keeper's voice spoke again. "True magic is love and understanding. You have already found it within yourself." The book began to glow, and Evan felt his heart fill with warmth. In the next instant, Evan was back home. He was relieved to realize that not even a moment had passed since he had entered the magical library. And yet, Evan felt that he had changed. Now he knew how to use his gift to help others. He began sharing stories with everyone around him, his mother, his classmates, and his neighbors. His mother, seeing the sparkle in his eyes, started spending more time with him. They began reading together, discussing books and sharing dreams. Evan made many new friends and never felt lonely again. And what about the magical book? It disappeared as suddenly as it had appeared. But Evan knew that its secrets would stay with him forever. Well, dear friends, it's time to set our magical compass and return to the Library of Wonders. I hope you enjoyed this tale. Now, dear listeners, as we are surrounded by the warm bookshelves of our wonderful library, I want to ask you, why do you think the book chose Evan? Do you think you have a gift like our remarkable hero? And if not, can you learn to have one? But before we say goodbye, I want to ask you, if this story warmed your heart, share it with your friends and loved ones. Next time, we'll hear a new story about a superhero pug we've already met before. I'll be eagerly waiting for you in our Library of Wonders, where the most amazing stories come to life.